Hello and welcome. I am Ollie Juno and this is my crafty corner. This is my Stitch With Me, I believe number 40. I do think I got caught up. I'm not 100% sure. I think I have one extra Stitch With Me. I don't know. If you are new here, thank you for coming in. I do Stitch With Me's on the weekends normally and Flosstubes during the week. If you like what you're seeing, please, hit the subscribe button, like the video, hit the little bell so you can see when I post videos. I have a whole new setup, different from what I did last time. I'll go into that in just a minute. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate you coming in. And we have a Aries back here giving herself a bath. So we will see once she's done if she'll actually decide to take a nap right there or if she's going to move. But if we're lucky, she'll stay in the screen. If not, she'll go do her own thing. I am going to go ahead and get started with the Stitch With Me today. I have Pattern Keeper showing on one of my webcams, and then I have my phone above me doing the webcam, and then I have my iPad in front of me. I've noticed that sometimes it likes to lag, so I may have some screen tearing or something. And unfortunately, it's not as charged as I prefer it to be because my oldest was using it last night and didn't have the charger. So I'm hoping that it'll stay on for the entire video, but we may lose the face cam. But I didn't want to wait any longer because I have technically been trying to make this video since Thursday. I was planning on doing a bonus Stitch With Me since I had Thursday off. I was going to do, uh-oh, that is not in the right stitch. I was going to do an extra Stitch With Me this week. Did I just mess myself up? Come on, that is not in the right spot. Yeah, it's not wanting to give it to me, and I've probably already glitched it. So, I'm gonna do this. Do an extra stitch over there. Alright, so yeah, I tried, I think 4 times on Thursday to do a Stitch With Me. I've been showing my Pattern Keeper. The last time I did a Stitch With Me, I used the BlueStacks on the computer because my computer is not Wi-Fi, so it won't let me mirrorcast it. This time when I tried to set it up, it wouldn't import the pattern because I was trying to do I think my blue rose. I was going to try to work on it, and it wouldn't load. It was agitating. I couldn't figure it out. So I decided to try a different method. I took my normal face cam, and it is now the one hovering over my tablet with the Pattern Keeper on it. I will eventually get an adapter to put Wi-Fi on my computer so that it can do the mirrorcast, because it's just the fact that it's not showing on the Wi-Fi that's the issue. But that is further down the way because I don't have the $20 to spend on it at the moment. So we'll worry about that at a later date. But, you know, I got that all set up. Like, I attempted trying to stream, but I couldn't get the thing working, so I ended up, you know, pulling out everything else and doing it this way. And almost was like, hit the stream, ready to go button, and then I noticed that there was a lot of screen, like the iPad screen was tearing really, really bad. Like, it wasn't even, basically I was like those, like, you'd see me, it'd freeze, I'd move, it'd freeze, I'd move, it'd freeze. Just at the settings, got that all going again, but I didn't realize it was doing that probably till about 5-10 minutes into the video I was doing. So, got that all situated, fixed the settings, got it to stop tearing, like doing that. It might do it a little bit, but it doesn't do it anywhere near like it was. So got ready to, you know, hit stream again, and my daughter came in, or my oldest, sorry, and they were having issues with their computer. They play the Sims game a lot, Sims 4, and it wouldn't load. So I was trying to help her get the computer up and running. So that was technically my third attempt at streaming that day, or videoing that day. Did not get their computer working correctly. Ended up just having them use a different, you know, borrow their brother's computer so that they could play their game since he wasn't on it at the moment. So yeah. And then at the end of the day, I tried one more time, got everything set up, everything was going good. I was chatting, talking, explaining everything that had happened that day. And lo and behold, if I didn't notice, I had messed up on my count on my fabric that I was doing. I was so mad and agitated. I just like, it's a bad day. I'm just going to turn off the video and I'm just going to sit here and watch YouTube and just relax. Alright, so I don't know if anybody cares, but I'm about to end this stitch. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through what I do in case you're interested. Because I do a loop finish tack down, I guess. So I do the loop, I go down that hole, I come back up the other hole, and then I grab it. Let me pull that string. And then I pull it taut-ish. I don't want to pull real hard. And then I go back down. So now I've done the loop start, or loop finish. Now I'm going to come back up the other, instead of coming up the left side, I'm coming up the right. And now I'm going to go in underneath the X and pierce the fabric. And pull it through. Make sure the X is laying flat. And then just pull this, send this back up through a normal hole, and there we go. It is stitched. It is finished. And that stitch is not easily going to pull out. And that, you know, is, I like doing it this way. I don't have to flip it over. I don't have any waste threads. And I don't really like doing pin stitches if I can help it into the other fabric, because I don't know why, but it always throws me off when I see a pin, like the thread in the fabric. I don't know why. So let me mark what I've done, which I have a very bad habit of not marking until after I'm done with everything. That is not right. Yeah, it is. I'm here. Yeah, okay. I need more 310. So yeah, the end of the day on Thursday, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not sure how well my Stitch with me would have went, so I decided to just basically do something to make, to stay relaxed and calm and not have to think too much. I had the day off, so I had been working on it all day trying to get this extra bonus stitch with me in, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. It's not happening today. We'll worry about it later. But, let's see. And for a start, let me make sure I'm in the right location. There. So for starting stitches, I do a loop start as well with one thread. I go up the hole that I'm going to be stitching in, and then I go right back down. So now I have a loop. So now I go up my top left corner and go right through my hoop. Pull it tight, not really taut, I just kind of pull it snug. Go right back down, and there we go. Now I have a solid stitch and it is not going anywhere. Plus I will also be stitching over a little bit of the tail that I left, so it will kind of tack it down that way as well. So kind of a double tack. Now I put all that back. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to finish off this row. A lot of times with this project, I tend to do more of a cross country, but I don't normally start the cross country bit until I get into the other colors. So like the black and the brown and the gray, I normally just do those square by square. But like when I get down here, I will run into other my other colors, and that's when I tend to do them, start doing the cross country diagonal stitch within the diagonal, I guess it is. I don't know. Like with this one, I will do the normal 10 by 10 square parking method, as it's only these 3 colors. And there's a decent amount of colors within the project. So park that over there. And park it. And now we're going to choose the 3771, which is the brown. I don't know, I've been really wanting to get stitches put in this one here recently. I really want to finish this row, because once I finish this row, when I start down on the next row of pages, I will be getting into the actual eyes. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Let's see. Go back to what I was talking about. We were still talking about, till I got off track, we were still talking about the, streaming, or the setup, that issues I was having. Friday, I didn't even try to stream on Friday. I ended up just focusing on stitching all night. I got a finish that day, so I was super excited for that. Come on. Just a second here. There we go. There we go. Tried to give me a knot. There we go. And then luckily I already had how I was going to do everything, so when I set up for today, everything was working just fine. I didn't have any issues getting anything set up. The iPad is not tearing as bad, but I also have, you know, the program that I'm using to show the video. I've actually have the iPad connected to the computer, so maybe it'll pull less on the Wi-Fi, because it's like connected through the phone to the app, so maybe with a solid connection it won't tear like that. So we will see. Hopefully I'm not blocking everybody's screen, and then y'all can easily see what I've been stitching. Okay, so we don't want there. We do want here. Let's see. I actually have a short list here of what I can possibly keep talking about, because I do tend to forget what I want to talk about when I'm streaming. Also, in the comments, if you would, let me know if the camera is, if you would prefer the camera to be closer than I currently have it. Because I can zoom it in next time. It's a little further away than I normally have it, but I'm just trying a couple of different methods to see how it works. Yeah. But yeah, I made a little notebook here that has a list on here of things that I could possibly discuss. Not sure how well the list will work, because sometimes I follow it, sometimes I remember I have it, sometimes I don't. I don't know. It's just one of those things. So the first thing on there was to discuss my setup issues, which I got through all that. Don't really have anything to add. I will say today is the first time that I've started a video, and so far, knock on wood, I have not had to do a retake. A lot of times when I start a video, I have to do a retake. You know, it's like, oh, I didn't like the way that started. Let's try that again. Or somebody interrupts me just as I'm getting started. I'm getting to the point now where if they come in the room and I have to turn around, you're just gonna see it when I tell them I'm streaming instead of trying to edit it out. Because it takes so long to upload if I have to edit my program. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the program that I use to edit with, but I use Adobe. It's a program that we get for my husband because he uses it all the time, so I figured, you know, he doesn't use this particular part of the Adobe program, so why shouldn't I? Yeah. Alrighty. Let's see. I know I had mentioned I would try stitching on my blue rose today for my Stitch With Me, but I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I got it all set up and I got sitting here and I wasn't feeling it, so I ended up switching it out. I know earlier today I was stitching on Pandemic while watching Needlebugg's live. They were also working on Pandemic. It's kind of cool when you're actually working on the same project as the person that you're watching. I really enjoy that. So so far I've put about 150 stitches into Pandemic today. I may end up putting it back on my frame because I'm really been enjoying stitching it and seeing the progress come alive on it. But then again, it also depends, you know, on how much I want to get done on this. My biggest problem with this one is I love the picture, I love the pattern, but I get a little bored with the colors a little bit, you know, because they're right now I'm mainly working with blacks, grays, and yellows. Black, brown, and gray. So I do get a little bored of it sometimes. So I can normally put probably about 400 or 500 stitches into it, and I'm ready to switch to something a little brighter. Pandemic, I absolutely love the color blue. So stitching the Pandemic, because it is a beautiful color blue, is like very appealing. But I also started a new pattern this week. I had talked about it on my Flosstube that I was going. I don't think I had started it yet on my Flosstube. I think I had stated that I was going to be starting it. I started it that night, if I recall. It's because I messed up on my my Faith one. I stitched it in the wrong. I stitched it on the bottom instead of on the top, so it's not enough fabric to finish it. My mom was talking with me. There may be a way that I won't be able to finish it, but maybe I can finish the one side and maybe make a border around the other side to work around it. 2, 3. So that I can do something with it instead of, you know, losing all that progress or having to frog all that progress. I don't know. I'd have to look at the pattern and see if there's any way that I can fudge a border, basically, is what we were talking about. All right, $37.99. But yeah, I've been like really happy that I've gotten so many of my projects back on frames, because it really gives me the ability to switch the words, gives me the ability to switch between them, you know, be like, oh, I'm gonna put a couple of stitches in, a couple hundred into here. Okay, well now let's switch over to this one and put a couple hundred into it. 100 stitches doesn't look like much, but if you're able to put a couple hundred into it throughout the week, then by the end of the week, you've ended up getting, a decent amount of progress on it. Or at least that's my thought on it. I might not put a whole lot in it at one time, but if between 4 projects I get 600 stitches, that's still a good amount of stitches. Even though it was split up between multiple projects. Truthfully, any amount of stitches is is progress. So it doesn't. Oops, I pulled that right on out. It's just like any amount of stitches is progress. So that's like I posted on Thursday. It's like I had the day off, and I had planned on yeah, I'm going to get lots of stitching in today. I'm going to get tons because it's my day off. I'm like, I got 400 stitches in, and I'm going, ooh. Just a second here. I'm talking and pulling too hard. Okay, try this again. I want to go here, 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 a little bit, here. There we go. Yay! Now I got it. Okay. It's like I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a ton of stitches in. And then at the end of the day, I counted them up going, I didn't get as many as I thought I would. But I mean, it was still progress, and it was still a good amount of stitches because there are times where I don't get but 100 stitches in for the day. So it's like, yeah. And then it was like yesterday, I worked yesterday, but it was a slow day. By the time I ended the night, I had over 1,000, I had 1,200 stitches, and I was like, wait, how did I get this many stitches? It's like I didn't expect to get this many stitches. But, it helped that I was able to, like, I had one of my projects, if you've been on my Instagram, you've seen it, because I did post it, but, I finished this little one yesterday, It's just a cute little one. It's not very large. It's not even it's like barely a finger length long. But all I did yesterday during work is I filled in all the gray. So it was quick, easy stitches. And that's where like 650 stitches came from this project right here. So, I mean, I get, sometimes it depends on the project you're working on how many stitches that you get. Which it can sometimes be disheartening when you're working on very heavy confetti projects, because you just don't feel like you've made any progress, So like on this one, like I can spend 2 hours on it and easily get almost 200 to 250 stitches, maybe more, depending on what I'm stitching. There have been times I've been able to get 1,000 stitches into this in one day because it was just basically one color. It's very, very few color changes, But I pull out my Dreaming of Being Human, and I work on that for an hour and get 50 stitches because certain areas of that is very confetti heavy. So it's like new color, 1, 2, okay, and next color, 1, 2, and okay, next color, and yep. So, and I will say it is harder for me to pick up the ones that are very heavy confetti because I know that the progress is harder to achieve. The image is beautiful. It's just you don't see the progress as much as you see in some of the other projects. So, let's see, you know, and you know, it is so hard not to try to start new things. Like, it's a good thing I am broke as a joke, because I probably would have about 3 more HAEDs started already. But I can't afford the colors. So I can't afford the thread or the fabric, so it's just kind of sitting there. But I've got 2 more for sure that I would love to start soon. Not, you know, not going to, at least not right now. Now, I will say, if in a couple of months I get the money up, it's very possible I will get those started. You know, I'm liking, like, there's a couple of hummingbird ones that I really want to do. Well, there's quite a few HAEDs that I currently have saved, purchased, that it's like, oh, I want to do that one. Let me do that one. But yeah, just the Stitchy bug, the start bug. I think it's called. I think everybody calls it the start bug because it's like you just get that itch to start it. Really, you know, you need to focus on what you currently have. You know, get rid of some things before you start something new. And that's definitely what I'm trying to do. For one, I don't have any more scroll frames, and I don't need to buy any more scroll frames. I've got 10 projects to stitch on, and I've got 90, like 8 of them on frames right now, I believe. Check something. Okay. I don't really have any more of that one down here, so we're going to end that stitch. I need to come back. Go back up. Will it come up? Yes, thank you. So now we're going to loop finish this off, because there's really, it's down here, it's not too far away, but there's no sense in trying to park it when it's not going to take any more thread, any different amount of thread to get it. There we go. And then we'll just put this one back on here. Just a second here. And then we're going to get a drink because my mouth has gotten kind of dry from all my chattering. I have been working on losing weight, exercising. Like, I've been trying to go get on the treadmill for at least 15 minutes a day. It's not a lot, but something is better than nothing, in my opinion. And eventually, maybe I'll work up to more than 15 minutes. But normally, I do it as I'm getting ready, like waiting for food to cook. And normally, I have about 15-20 minutes while food is cooking before I really need to do anything with the food. So that is what I've been working on. I've been trying to eat healthier, which we already eat pretty healthy anyway because my husband is diabetic. So we're already on a fairly healthy diet. Right now, I'm working on making sure I eat the right portion sizes because it's so easy just to eat until you're stuffed. Where you should only eat until you're full. Which, that is so hard. That is so hard to do. Let me make sure I'm at the right spot. Let's see. So here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yep. And then trying to make sure you drink enough water in the day. Now recently, like I've started drinking, I've been trying to make sure I drink at least 64 ounces of water. I have been, I have actually been pretty good at staying at no less than 64 ounces of water up to 80 ounces of water, because I drink 16-ounce bottles at a time, and I use the like greater value drink enhancer things. They're just flavors. They have no calories, no sugars in them. I do those because I get tired of the flavor of water. Wait, I did something wrong. I did wrong. It's frog time. So, and I'm being mean to my middle daughter today. I'm testing her. This is her water bottle that she bought. It's been sitting in one place for about a month now. So I've decided to start using it. And as soon as, just to see how long it'll take her to notice that I'm using it and she doesn't know where it's at. As soon as she knows it's missing, like as soon as she asks for it back, I'm gonna give it back to her because it's hers. But it's just one of those things. It's like, you haven't used it in over a month. It's mine now. Nah, it's not mine, but it's just one of those things. I just want to see how long before they notice that it's missing. Or that somebody else is using it. Today's my first day using it. Don't know how long I'll actually use it. I don't really use them. I normally just, grab the cold water bottle out of the fridge, put my juice in it, and I normally have the bottle drink within 30 minutes or so. Well, let me take that back. I pull it out, I set it, get the flavor in the drink, and then probably about 15 minutes after I've pulled it out, then I start drinking on it. Because I really do not like, like fresh refrigerator cold water. Unless I'm at a restaurant, then I want ice water. But at home, bottled water, no, it's just give it a little time to warm up a little before I drink it. But yeah, I've started, like I was saying, I kind of got off track on what I was talking about. I was talking about trying, working out. I'm just trying to lose a little bit of weight. Not really lose weight. I could care less if I lose much weight. I just want to tone up. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I've got a jiggly belly, and I don't like it. And I want to try to get rid of it. So I'm doing little things to see about getting rid of it. It's not anybody telling me anything. It's your own brain, Like, it's your own head. There's no, there's no way around it. It is you that is the problem. That is not the right spot. Give me a second. I'm not in the right area. There's 1. There's 2. 3. No. Let's come back. Where am I? Okay. So there's 1. There's 2. There we go. And this one is here. All right. So, taking care of portion control, trying to make sure I work out about 15 minutes a day, being if it's on the treadmill or doing body exercises like squats and stretches and stuff like that. In the last 2 months, I have actually lost about 10 pounds. And about I'd say 2 inches in my waist. So I'm seeing progress. Slowly but surely. Okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep, I'm in the right spot. So I'm seeing progress. I know it's not going to be a lot because, like I said, I'm not, doing extreme of anything. And it was just something I started this year. Basically kind of like a New Year's resolution type thing. So we'll see how it goes throughout the year. Let's see. On to next subject. Alright. So the next thing I want to talk about is I should be getting a good chunk of stitching done this week. Should be. Work is going to be slow because one of my main clients is a school district, and they are on break this month. Words. They are on break this week. This coming up week. So we shouldn't be getting a lot of calls or emails in. So I should be able to get some stitching in. My goal is to stitch on my multicat. let me get it. I have everything on top of everything over here. This one. My goal is to stitch on her this week. Because I'm over 50% done. I have the bottom half and the butt and the tail. So, if I can get to work on it and focus on it during the work hours, it's not hard stitching at all. It's just square after, or triangle after triangle after triangle. You know, each triangle is, you know, one full color, and most of the triangles are the same size. So it's like, I know when I start this triangle, I go do exactly this many stitches down and then this many stitches up and then fill it. So, yeah. So that is my goal for work next week. At least for the 3 days that I work, because I ended up taking Thursday and Friday off. We have, if we don't use up all of, they only let us roll over 40 hours of PTO time from last year. So if I don't take some time off, I'm going to lose about 40 hours or 20 hours. So I took off Thursday this week so that I could, you know, take into some of that time off. And then I'm taking off Thursday and Friday next week. Because I don't want to lose the hours, you know? It's like, it's my earned, you know, personal time off, you know. So I might as well, you know, make sure I get it instead of losing it. I don't really request a lot of time off. Normally, if I request time off, it's only for the time that I need off to get to where I'm going and back. Like, I've requested time off on the 7th and the 15th. But I've only requested about 2 hours off, and I told them already that I'm not even gonna, you know, I don't plan on using that full 2 hours. That's just the time I'm giving myself to get there and back. From the appointment. Because one is an appointment for me. I'm not going into it right now. I want to see what they have to say, and then I'll discuss everything. It's an issue that has occurred since my hysterectomy last year. It's not, as far as I know, it's not a big issue. If it turns into something more, if they say differently, I will make sure to update everybody. But as of right now, it's just something that they wanted to check out. So I'll have more information on that after the 7th. And then on the 15th is a vet visit for our ferret. She seems to have a tumor on her tail that we need them to look at and see if we can get fixed, you know, removed. And make sure that, you know, it's not anything that's going to harm her. Like, from what I've read and checked up on, it's just, you know, they happen to get them periodically as they get older. Normally around the 1 to 2 year mark for sure. And she got one. So we're taking her in to get her checked out to make sure that it is what it seems like, just a plain Jane tumor and nothing major, and that we can get it removed so that it's not hanging on her tail. I missed a spot somewhere because that I didn't go far enough over, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like I've messed up here and there. So, luckily, that's an easy fix. So, yeah, I've got those 2 days off. I've requested 2 hours for each of those days. They're also right around my lunch break. So, that way, if it takes more than the 2 allotted hours, I can, you know, I still have that hour leeway. But normally when I take time off, I do not take off the, like, I don't normally take lunch as well when I come back from time off. So that way I use less PTO time. Ah, I just pulled my needle right on out. Because I don't like using it if I don't have to. I don't see the sense in taking the whole day for like an hour to hour and a half visit. There's no sense in it. At least not in my opinion. Now, I mean, if it's a bad appointment, yeah. Now, my doctor's appointment, I'm actually taking it at the end of the day because my appointment's at, I think it's at 2:30, 3:30, 2:30. I get off work at 3:30. I'm asked to leave at 1. So, and I won't be having to come back to work after that appointment. So whatever news I find out on that, I don't got to worry about coming back in. So yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and end this thread. I could probably get more stitches out of it, but I'm going to go ahead and end it because it's, you know, it's kind of low. There we go. Even that back out, and there we go. Alrighty, let's see here. I've got one last thing. Well, I have 2 things to talk about. One of them isn't very long. It was just something kind of nostalgic, I guess. I remember when these used to be big things. I found this in the bathroom. It's my daughter's. I'm giving it to her when she gets home from work. But it just reminded me of how big these used to be when I was growing up. You know, I don't know how big they are nowadays. I know she's got it for a couple, I think she's got like 2 or 3 of these for a couple of her friends. And they all have the other half. But it's like, I was thinking, I was like, man, I remember buying a few of these and handing them out and keeping the other half. And up until, you know, like, I think when I was in my, I think I was like 24, 25 when I finally got rid of all of mine. But I had like 6 of the best friend necklaces. You know, like I only had the one section of it. And I didn't have contact with the people that I had given them to. I started thinking about that. And I was just like, I wonder what happened to all of my friends that I gave them the other half of their, you know, like, I just remember You know, that used to be such a big thing. You know, it was such, you know, a massive thing to get best friend necklaces and split the necklace with the other half. Nowadays, that one has a magnet in it, so like when they get together, it sticks together. All the ones I ever had never stuck together. Like you could put them together, but they didn't normally stay. But most of mine were more along the cheaper lines. But still, it's just like, oh wow, nostalgia there. Alright, so now the last thing I want to talk about is I was catching up on Stitch with Me's and Flosstubes and all that stuff. Oh, excuse me. And I was catching up on one, and I was watching Daydream Stitcher. If you've not watched her, she's awesome. What's real funny today is I was watching her 7-year anniversary. So she's been doing Flosstube for 7 years now. And I had like literally just got done watching her Flosstube, probably 10 minutes before she posted on my channel saying, I just found you on Facebook. And I'm just sitting there like, that is so awesome. I literally just got done watching her channel. It was so cool to actually have her respond and to follow my channel. It just makes my day. To actually have people that I watch actually come watch my channels too. You know, that's like amazing. I know I've stated it a few times. I'm like, I just hit 350 subscribers not that long ago. And today I looked and I'm up to 364 and I'm going, what? Wow. So I'm starting the process of planning some cross-stitch bags for when I hit 400, so I can do a giveaway. I will say I am looking forward to the day that I hit 500 so that I have the community channel so I can post on there on, like, if I'm going to be late with a video, or if I want to do a live video, or just be able to keep up with the community. I like the little community chat that once you hit 500 that comes available for you. But yeah, anybody I mentioned today, Flosstubers that I mentioned today, I will be posting a link to their channel in my description below. I definitely would say to to go check them out. The Daydreamer Stitcher, she is awesome. I love her. Her kids are awesome. She has them in her stream sometime too. I do believe they've got their own channels as well. I haven't checked up on those here recently. But I do know that her son and daughter at one time was posting their channels on their channels, so definitely check those out. I do not have the names of those channels, so I apologize for that. And another one that does, you know, the ones I'm listing off at the moment are mostly Flosstubes. They don't do, I haven't seen very many Stitch with Me's with them, but they do the Flosstube. Another one is, sorry, my nose. Sorry, I have a list here in front of me. I'm trying to read my writing. Okay, so another person who does floss tubes that I think he might have done one stitch with me before, but he's more of a floss. He does his floss tubes, and he is awesome. He is XrossStitch. If you haven't checked him out, you definitely need to. The vibe he gives off is amazing. He's part of the Chris It Up hashtag that Darcy started. He started it because of XrossStitch, you know. So it's definitely go check out XrossStitch because he's really cool. His neighbor segments are awesome. I love the way he names handstanding cat every video. It's just amazing. And the names, there are some really cool, unique names that he gets to name handstanding cat. It's really cool. All right, so like I said, I'll have his link below. Another person, most everybody else I'm going to be mentioning, they do floss tubes, and most of them, all of them do stitch with me's. I'm not sure if all of them do floss tubes. The one I found her today. I've only gotten to watch one of her videos, but she was doing a stitch with me. It was a very beautiful cabin stitch with me, HAED, I believe. I don't know if it was a HAED or not. I know it was a full coverage. Like I said, I literally just watched her just before I came and started my stream. Her name on YouTube is Stitchy Soph. I really enjoyed her video today. I don't know, she was just, she was chatting through it, and I really enjoy the Stitch with me's with chatting. I do also enjoy the Stitch with me's with the videos, with just the music playing, because I can play those while I'm working, and not have to worry about missing any information, because I know they're not talking, they're just stitching. So when I'm not on a call or something like that, I can watch their stitching. And sometimes when I am on a call, I can run it with no volume. That way I, kind of have something to focus on when I'm waiting on, since I do IT tech, sometimes you're just waiting for things to load before you can access anything, so. Another person is Gemma Stitches. She used to only do music videos, words. She used to only do the Stitch with me's with music, but she took people's suggestion and actually started doing Stitch with me with talking. And I have really been enjoying all her videos with her talking. It is awesome. I definitely suggest going to go check her out. She's really, the patterns that she works on is really cool too. Mostly full coverage. A few times she's done Stitch with me's, they've not been full coverage. She's got some that are not full coverage, but most of what she stitches on is full coverage. I believe they're HAEDs. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at paying attention to if they're working on HAEDs or just full coverages from somebody else. I just look at the pattern and go, oh, that's beautiful. Let's watch it. Let's see. And then I mentioned the Needlebugg earlier today. Definitely check her out if you haven't. She is real good about giving advice. So, if you're struggling with something, go find one of her videos. She normally has something about it. Like if you're struggling with stitching on the diagonal, she has a ton of videos on that. So definitely check her out. The next person I want to mention is Dizzy Stitcher. I think it's the Dizzy Stitcher or just Dizzy Stitcher. I can't remember. He is awesome. I love him. He does Flosstubes and Stitch with Me's. His Stitch with Me's are a little not as often because he has been going to college, so he hasn't had the time, but his projects are just gorgeous. And he posts Stitch with Me's, you know, fairly common. It's like not as often as he used to. He used to do them every week. Now he doesn't get one every week, but it's still consistently enough that you still enjoy watching his Stitch with Me's. Alright, and I think I have one last person to shout out. And that is the Stitchy Witch. I love her Stitch with Me's. She's just very entertaining with her Stitch with Me's and does some very awesome projects. Let me mark this. Yeah, she the one thing I really like about her is she has a Discord channel. Oops, mark that. She has a Discord channel that they're very active in. Like there's normally chatting in the Discord channel daily. And they do events every weekend. Like on Sundays they do what is the event called? Scratchy Stitch or something like that. Hold on, I'm gonna look at it real quick. What is it? Scratch Your Stitching Itch is the event, and it's like you get on the Discord, you can show your work, you can show what you're stitching on, you can show your face, but you actually it's a stitching session that you're sitting there talking with them and communicating with them, kind of like Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So yeah. There we go. Show you what I got. 2.5 pages left before I get done with this row. All right, so my day is words. Oh. My glasses are hurting my nose. All right, so I am done. I am just rambling now. I have given off my list of names, which I forgot to mention. That came up because Daydream Stitcher did a 22 Flosstubers to check out, and I loved the idea. So, you know, I'm going to try on my Stitch with Me's to come up, like, get a list of names of people that I've watched throughout the week to check out. It's not everybody I've watched. I have so many people that I watch in a week. It is crazy. I like watch. I don't even want to try to count how many Flosstubes I watch in a week. I don't. I'm not. My brain would fry. But I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna say goodnight. Well, it's 5 p.m. so I totally forgot all that. Oh well, it'll be in the description below. Missing steps today. Oh well. Yeah, it is 5 p.m. I'm going to go figure out what we're gonna do for supper, and I will see everybody next time. Have a great night, have a great weekend, and happy stitching. Bye, everybody.